Hello and welcome once again to Age of Wonders Planetfall. My name is Orange. It's been, I think, a little over a week since my last video, partially because I've just been busy in real life, and partially because I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about. But over this week, I've caught bits and pieces of a few multiplayer games with some newer players, and I realized, or remembered kind of, that one of the big things that hits new players in Age of Wonders multiplayer is rushes. People don't really know how to deal with a rush. They don't always recognize it. It seems to be most of the time for new players, what kills them is, oh, the opponent rushed me. So I'm going to try to make a video talking about rushes. It might actually be a part 1 or 2 because unfortunately I can't make the AI effectively rush me, so I have to be the person doing the rush. So for this first video, I'll kind of talk about being the rusher and get as far as I can in a reasonable time frame towards my rush. And then in the next video, I will hopefully be in a position to talk a little more about how you might address a rush and finish the game, and maybe, if I'm lucky, have enough time to talk about Syndicate Tactical, kind of how I talked about Amazons, and then my opinion about Syndicate. So, to do a rush, the combination I've chosen here is Syndicate Synthesis, and the rush I'm trying to do is one I've actually talked about in a previous video. In that case, I was Syndicate Sign Number, but I'm going to do the Syndicate Runner Rush, so using their Scout unit. I think Synthesis is actually a stronger combination with Syndicate to do this rush, because Synthesis offers a couple really early mods that you get with the very first tech that'll be very helpful. And then once I get that tech, I can get a couple good tactical operations to support, and even a couple strategic operations to support relatively easily, which is just a more useful package, I think, than Sign Number or many of the other secret techs offer for this particular approach. I won't really talk about perks other than I took Veteran. I want my hero to be a very strong unit. There's a couple reasons for that, which I'll probably get into a little later, but this is the easiest way for me to make my hero a strong unit. I think that's all I need to talk about here, and nothing to talk about with that. So we'll wait for the computer to finish talking so we don't try to compete with each other. There we go. Okay, so before I even really start playing, let's take a half step back and just talk about what I define as a rush. And ooh, that's a really lucky tech. I define a rush as a strategy where you are trying to defeat your opponent by turn 25, plus or minus a couple turns. I think in Age of Wonders Planetfall, you can actually rush significantly faster than that. I think if you have the right approach and a little bit of luck, you can probably be rushing to win by turn 15 if you're really practiced. But more reasonably, especially for people that don't just practice at one particular build, I think you're doing all right if you can do it by turns 18 to 20. And there's definitely builds I would say are using a rush strategy that really aren't in enough of a hurry to do it before turn 25. Let's put it that way. How is this different from, say, a mid-game build? Well, a mid-game build, or why is turn... No, let me back up. Turn 25. Why is turn 25 important? Well, turn 25 is right around the time where your opponent probably has most of the tools that he wants to beat you, if he's a mid-range guy. Usually by that point, you've got a couple units in, you've got a couple mods in, you've got a good, strong infrastructure. You could actually maybe afford to lose a city and not have just lost the game. It really is kind of it seems to be a good tipping point where if you can be attacking your opponent aggressively by turn 25 and he hasn't specifically prepared to beat you, he can't really recover. After turn 25, even if he hasn't explicitly been preparing for your rush to beat you, he can probably take it and then still win after you've shot your wad. And the reason I put it that way is because in order to have a rush approach by turn 25, and especially if you're talking turn 20, turn 15, you will have sacrificed something to do that. Whether that's your overall economy, which is the most common. Sometimes it's tech, you've just dumped tech entirely. Sometimes you have literally every unit on the map involved in the rush, and if you die, you just can't. You have no gold, nothing to recover from it. So if your opponent can defeat your rush, you tend to lose. It's very hard to recover from a failed rush in this game. Whereas in a mid-range build, you can actually probably afford to lose an attack and still come back afterwards. So we're looking to win by turn 25. With this particular build, I've practiced it a little bit. I tried it once in a game, and I did one single-player game before that. I think against the AI, I should be able to have 2.5 to 3 stacks of units at the enemy capital by turn 17 or 18. If I'm getting lucky, which I did with that early colonizer tech, we'll see if I can do turn 15. I doubt it, but I won't rule it out immediately. That's early Cosmite. Spacers, some tech. Okay, so this is a decent start for me. I will run this first. I want to remember to get this, so I'm just going to run it out to pick that up right away. Normally, I would send my scout out in most builds to be scouting and not to be clearing, but I'm going to be building a lot of scouts in this build, like exclusively building scouts, so I don't need to be efficient with my free scouts, and I don't mind having scouts with some experience behind them, because I will be using those same units eventually to attack the opponent with. So we're going to take the NPC faction. I lose a unit, that's not a big deal. My indenture, they're not going to be practical anyways. I'm not going to really want them. I don't really want the beamer rifle, but I do really want the early production. So I'm going to take that solely because I want the production more than I want the energy. I will go into all food. What is this? This is a Imperial Standard. There's no food pickups around. I really like building an early colonizer if I get that tech, but I don't want to delay expanding into this. So I will be just a tad slow. I'll take the free production building, and then I think I will build an early scout as well. I've really upgraded my commander. Thank you, game. I said thank you, game. We'll end the turn. So, I am focusing on runners. Now, why am I doing that? Well, why is runners a unit I look at and say, man, does this seem like a good rushing unit? Well, there's a couple things. One is runners are stronger than you'd expect for a scout. They don't have a bunch of attacking power, but they have excellent survivability. They have a defensive stat, and then they have 30 hit points combined with the escape module for 45 effective hit points, which is more than my indentured, actually. They also have flanker, which mitigates their damage significantly. So even though it only looks like 8 as opposed to the 10, if they're flanking, they're actually the same. And in my rush build, I am expecting to have more units than the opponent, especially where I'm going to be attacking with them. So having flanker on these actually means that this unit, for all intents and purposes, is an indentured with slightly worse range, but extremely better strategic mobility because it can float. So I can get this unit to where it needs to be on the global map very quickly, which is a huge deal for a rush because the biggest problem with a rush is usually not teching into the unit you want. The biggest problem with the rush is building the unit you want, which is why a lot of rush strategies, not mine, but a lot, involve summoning units because it gives you another way to get units. Right now, I only have one production chain, so I can't I mean, I can optimize my production a little bit. I can change over from food to production, but I'm still kind of limited by how much one city can produce, which is why I will be building a colonizer, maybe even two, just to be able to build more units at the same time. Whereas if you have a unit summon, I don't need to worry about that because I can just build from my capital, but then summon the other units I need. And I don't have to worry about getting them from my capital all the way across the map. I can just summon them immediately right where I wanted them to be from the beginning. So summons are a very powerful approach towards a rush strategy. Again, it's not one I'm using in this particular case, but they are powerful. Okay, so I got a little bit of tech. I will send this guy now off to scout a little bit. This is just going to be gold. I think I'm going to run back and get the level. I won't be getting it on scouts probably, but I'll get it on my hero, which is the unit that I really want that level on. One more turn before this pops. So yeah, let's build another. That's going to be slow. Can I be more efficient? I'm going to need this eventually, and actually the happiness events might be useful. So let's get a turn in on this, upgrade this. Oh, we'll see what goes from there. Military research. So this is why, again, I picked synthesis. I want these two early mods. They're very strong for cost. Just make my units better overall. The military networks doesn't really matter, but once I get this, which I'll just get right away, synthesis offers then some good tactical ops. So both of these are very strong tactical operations. I get some regeneration, or I can get some shields, both of which can make my scouts disproportionately strong, or survivable rather, than their tier would otherwise imply. I can also get these strategic operations, which, if I have the gold to cast them, can give just a general buff to my units, or can, because all my scouts will be modded, hopefully, by the time I attack with them, and then I can just get a damage. So this is also nice. I will also want this single target nuke, and that's really it. Those are the techs I want. This tech, and this tech, that's all I need. Other than that, anything else is kind of nice to get, but not necessary. I think early on, the AI tends to want, they like having an early nuke. So let's get an early nuke for my clearing ability to help the AI out. Then I'll get the other, no, I'll actually get the strat op and then the other tactical ops, because if I don't get these, they're not, like, this isn't nearly as good as these operations, but I at least have something I can cast, whereas if I don't get the strategic operations in time, I just won't be able to use them. So this, because I think the AI wants it, then this so that I have another thing to do that's not using up the same operations points, and then these guys as a, I really would like to have it, but it's the most cuttable of these three in my mind. Great, that was my tech. Society research. I got early colonizer, which is what I wanted. Now, I actually have an interesting decision because of how lucky I got with my 2 free techs. I got diplomatic niceties. I don't care about either of these doctrines. They're both bad for me. I attacked my first NPC. I might be at peace with my other one, but I don't really think that the 15 gold per turn and a little bit of influence is going to be worth the doctrine slot or the 100 gold that I'm going to have to spend to cast it. And again, I don't have any indentured. But now I can get cyber optimization for only 6 turns. And cyber optimization gives me worker integration, which I am probably only going to be using my colonists on either food early on, followed by production and energy. So this is really strong for me. Is it stronger than getting my Cosmite early? Well, let me look back. I don't know where any nodes, Cosmite nodes are just yet. I've already moved my scouts. And if I'm going to get this, I have to do it now, while it's the most useful it's ever going to be. I still think the answer is no, because I don't want to give up that much tech time before I start working towards getting extra Cosmite. This one is the Cosmite. And then more than I will want that, I'm going to want some more operation stuff. So I'm going to go for I think production, because I might actually be using production exploitations, whereas energy was gonna, by the time I get exploitations for energy, like they just won't be cost effective. Then I need to get my Cosmite research, and then I think I just work towards getting as much operation effectiveness as I can tech. And then we'll end the turn.
There's a way to do any.
And so we talked about, I'm gonna next that landmark. We talked about, so I'm trying to be at the opponent by turn, before turn 20. And why runners? So they're stronger than they look. I can mod them with the mods I want to put on them to make them even stronger in the field. And then they're extremely mobile. As floating units, I can move them around the map. And the biggest delay often, oh right, I knew that. That was stupid. The biggest delay in a rush is just getting your units to where they need to be. Pretty much 100% of the time. That's the hardest thing to do in a rush, is to get the unit at the spot it needs to be at. And so to mitigate that, I've got floating units, so that won't be as much of a problem for me. I also can build them without having to build an extra skirmisher barracks, specialist training center, so I can be building them literally from turn 1 if I wanted to. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, they have universal camouflage. And camouflage and the camouflage mechanics are something that I think in single player get overlooked. Because you don't know if it matters to the AI, and the answer is sometimes it actually doesn't. And it's not a big factor in single player. In multiplayer, it can be a huge deal. And for a rush build, it's an even bigger deal. Because the only way to beat a rush is to know it's coming. If all your rushing units are invisible, which mine will be, they'll all be either scouts or my invisible hero. In principle, the opponent only knows I'm doing a rush attack if I make a mistake, or if I want escape module, I think, or if he knows me and he knows that I like to go for a build like this. A little more. Tech never hurt anyone. I will send this guy to the right. I'll have him cut through the hills this way, and then this guy can keep following the coast to the north. So being invisible is a huge deal for a rush build. It also lets me attack my opponent where he's not expecting me to attack, because he won't know my units are there. Even if he does know that I like to go for this, I'm going to force him to react, because he's going to need to build detectors, or detection mods. There's Cosmite. That's pretty far away, though. Oh, it's not too bad. Okay. And part of a rush build, like part of the strength of a rush build, is forcing the opponent to react to what you're doing, as opposed to you having to react to what the opponent's doing. I don't actually know where to go. I'm just going to go generically south, and we'll see if I find anything good. Food, that's fine. Oh wait, is that Cosmite? I don't think so. I think that's a spawner. 2 turns, but that gets me through the food. Okay. So, yes, runners in that case are a very strong unit because of their strategic abilities. Again, tactically, they're better than you would expect from a scout unit. They're still not as good as a real dedicated combat unit. But they're close enough to a combat unit that they make up the difference. Because their strategic ability is so good. Operations ready to prime. Again, I don't want either of these, so I'm not going to even spend the gold on it. And it's also very nice to be using runners for my combat ability, because it means that scouting figures itself out, right? Every unit I'm going to make is a scout. So I don't need to have like a dedicated, oh, I need to remember every couple turns build a scout. No, I'm just building what I was going to build anyways, and it figures that problem is not a problem. Okay. I will work towards getting that food. Decision time. I will give up one extra turn to be able to settle directly on the Cosmite. And I will look around to the south a little bit. Ooh. That is annoying. Well, let's move the extra tile just to be safe. I lost my regen. I'm gonna ignore that food for now, because I really want to be able to settle on this. So, a little bit of gold never hurt anybody. Keep sending scouts out, as always. And so, the early game that I've done so far, what's really started, like, my first few moves haven't been all that different from what I would have been doing anyways. What's really different here is that I have really sold out. Do I want... I will want Reinforcement Factory, but I don't need it just yet. Production costs, 15% for Co-Skirmisher and Specialist. Oh, I don't actually know if this is defined as a... It is defined as a co-unit, so... Is that excluding or including mods? Because I'm going to be building my mod. It is including mods. So, if I put my mods... I think I'm actually going to drop static build up, just because I won't have a high enough Cosmite income to support it. So if I do that, how much production is this? 150 versus 130. So 150 production, 15% is 15 plus 7.5 is 20 production per unit that I build. Whereas the guild itself costs 250. So I'd have to build 10 of them. That's not worth it. That's not enough. So then the next question is, I will be building this here on this Cosmite node. I do have a really close spot to just throw down another city for the sake of having another city. 30 Cosmite, though. What would this be giving me? Not much, honestly. I think it's still probably worth building that colonizer, though. Probably. Right, I keep forgetting to pick this energy up. Okay, good. I can't reach that. Found Syndicate colony. Are you serious? They didn't move at all? Damn it. Well, we'll see if I just made a massive mistake or if I get lucky with how the AI behaves. And we'll just send that up for the easy spot, and then start building honors. Auto combat, one-handedly. Okay, good. I will take that. That's in the rough area where I am to begin with. Continuing to lose indentured, again, I don't care. They're totally expendable units for me. I'll probably merge in a couple of my runners here, though those I don't want to lose, so we'll have to think about that. I'm at war with these guys. That's a strong enough stack. I need more help. So we will wait for more help before I attempt to take it. 40, so 45 is what I need to buy. Okay, I don't actually know who that is. I can check who these guys are. Okay, I'm right here. Good, that's good timing. I'll have my fourth city up, no problem. Let's bring this scout in, because again, I'm going to want to be reinforcing to help with that. Totally missed picking that up. Okay, so in my new city, what is it I'm going to need? I will be needing energy. Mostly I just really need Cosmite. Um, and just production as well. I have this city in the back here I think is going to be doing energy. This city is going to be closer to the enemy. I don't know where he is yet, but it doesn't matter where he is. This city's closer. So this should be another production city, I think. I will optimize for food on this city as well. 2 more turns before that expands, so I can keep that on food, I think. I will continue to build runners, even if, well, that's fine. Even if they're not modded, because I will hopefully be able to fix that soon. I'm specifically looking for one hero. I'm just going to keep re-rolling to get him. I'm looking for one. There is a Syndicate hero that starts in a Mirage, so I want him because he's invisible. None of these are super great for me, I think. Right, counterattack is very solid. Definitely want that. And then I probably will just want Deadeye, but I can afford to wait on that. Okay, good. I can bring in both these scouts for this fight. Shoot, I lost one, but it was an unmodded one, so that's okay.
Objective completed.
I will take the tech, I think. I think that's more important right now than a little more energy. And let's clear this too. Take some production materials.
You can't afford.
Alright, great. So now in my capital, I will definitely want Cosmite as quickly as possible. Alright, so it's turn 10. I'm a little slow, I think, to be attacking my opponent by turn 15. So that's not going to happen. But I might still be able to manage 18. Let's just get one of those going. I might regret having spent 100 energy on it, but, oh wait, let me make sure it's the one I want. Heal the full, finely tuned. 10 accuracy and damage. Yeah, I guess it's, because this only affects cyborg and mechanical. So, excuse me, so yeah, I think it's fine. We'll see if the AI cheats, if it knows my scout is there or not, because it shouldn't. None of those units are modded. Okay, free colony. This is definitely the other side of the Pangea here, so I really wish one of these it would have been not the spaces I'm at war with, so I could have just influenced bought them off a Cosmite node. Alright, so here, all I want is energy, I think, to be able to support building more units. I will do food just in the false hope that if I lose my rush, I'll still be able to recover. Here, runners the whole time. Cool. I am really surprised that thing just hasn't attacked yet. I don't know what it's waiting for, but I will definitely want to clear that Cosmite node. I think before I do that, accuracy. Let's merge all these guys up. Grab the accuracy. What is this? That is only a defense turn. I'd rather have the accuracy buffer when they clear out that Cosmite node. This is not 6 units. I could have had this guy in there to be totally optimal, but that's okay. Did I forget? Oh, oops. I accidentally took all my scouts out from scouting. I'll need to fix that. I could build runners here. Again, I think I'd rather have the central reactor core. And then, honestly, let's just build... I normally just build the defensive buildings just to have them. Continue him on food. This one, too, I'm going to do the same thing just so I don't have to think about it for this game. Even though that's going to take out a little bit of gold, I'm fine with that. Really? Okay. not the biggest deal about that is I lost that production on my other runner, which is actually annoying. This is the one I want. Yeah. Because mirages are invisible in rough terrain. I'm not sure why he's not invisible. Is that not considered rough terrain? Mountain bear in a chasm. Oh, okay, not for us. Good to know. Uh, I have one. You know, this is as good as time as any to do my battle with Syndicate to show their tactical ability, I think. So, let me look at what we're at here. Yeah, let's do this fight. I'll talk about Syndicate, and then the next video, I'll probably end it after this fight, and then see about the next video as far as talking about countering a rush, and then continue this game out through the end. So, we'll manual this fight. Okay, so switching gears now away from talking about rushes to just Syndicate in general. What are Syndicate, like what is their goal in an average tactical fight? This is going to be a little bit of a weird one because I'm using a bunch of runners, but not that weird, because my opinion on Syndicate is they are kind of similar to Age of Wonders 3 rogues, and I don't really like to do the direct comparison because everything is so different. But mainly what I'm trying to get across with that is the Syndicate player, the way he prefers to fight in tactical is to not fight in tactical. I think the Syndicate are at their strongest when they're using their strategic level advantages and not when they're fighting even strength tactical battles. Many of their units are just worse than equivalent units. Even though that like they're fine. So like the Indentured is almost literally a strictly worse trooper. It has Overwatch the same, but it doesn't get the steady aim. It can't get morale buffs, so you can get 10% critical chance, but that's not as good as being able to actually have morale. Elk Power Blast is on a cooldown, which makes it better than a grenade, but grenades are just better. Knockback is often not even good. And this is a lower range than a grenade, so this is like not as good of a unit as many other races' core units. But it can't be hit by negative morale. It can get buffed by other units in the fight, and you have a doctrine that makes these things cost half as much and upkeep half as much. So you can get 2 of these for the cost of 1 other unit, which is way better than just having 1 better unit. To have 2 almost as good units is just so much better. And then we look at something like Chronos, right, where they're still at the end of the day a scout, but they have universal camouflage. The opponent can't see them. They have a lot of little combat tricks and stuff. So, like, this is a great unit to be doing what I'm doing with him, right? Build a whole bunch of them, use them as raiding forces, as rush forces, just attacking where your opponent can't deal with them, but not attacking your opponent's main stack because they'll get slaughtered. So you just don't. You just attack you attack with 12 of these against a city that's defended by 4 units, and win that way. And up and down, the Syndicate roster is full of stuff like that, where the unit is okay in a fight, but like not huge, not a game winner like many of the other races' units. And really, what wins the Syndicate games in multiplayer is all the other stuff that they can do with their units, and not the units themselves. That being said, to a first approximation, they kind of play like Vanguard. They have Overwatch. They have a strong range game. They can do melee, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, let's do the unit by unit. So again, we've talked about runners to exhaustion already. We've talked about Indentured a little bit in this fight. Overseers, are a good support unit, officially good. You'll always want some of these around, not just for their healing, but because they make your other Indentured better, because of imposed discipline. It's the only way to give a critical chance to your Indentured other than mods. So they just make your stack better. Psytech Revitalization is a very good heal. It's less hit points than most of the other heals, or all the other heals, I think, but it clears negative status effects, which is often more powerful than the heal itself. Cerebral Override is super, super good. Maybe broken. The only thing I think that keeps it from being broken is that it can only hit indentured units. And that's not just the indentured unit. You can also have units with the indentured tag, or specifically the cerebral control collars. I guess there isn't a dedicated tag, but cerebral control collars is a mod that you can put on non-syndicate units. If you ever get to that part of a game, that's a neat trick with overseers. But the 5 damage is totally meaningless for cerebral override, and you are exchanging a single action in exchange for 3 actions, stagger immunity, not just resistance immunity, and a unit that can't die. And that this a basic ability from a tier 2 unit can win big 18 versus 18 fights if you can hit the right indentured at the right time that just can't die and can kill some stuff. It's a very good ability. So the Overseer is, I mean, I actually like all the Syndicate units for the most part. I think all of them have a place, but the Overseer is one of the stronger ones as their support. Going up the tech tree, the other unit they can build immediately is the Enforcer, which is another. This is probably their best straight combat unit. It's melee only. It's only ranged attack. Well, it does have a ranged attack, but it's a pretty low ranged attack. So it's not melee only, but it's very melee focused. It's not a flex unit. It's intended to be in melee. And what's unique about it is its melee attack is a psi attack. So if you look at this, melee, bypass shield, psionic, bypass armor. The only way to resist damage from this unit is with psionic resistance, which is very difficult for many races and secret techs to pick up. So enforcers can often punch way outside their weight class because a lot of higher tier units are balanced around having high defensive stats, and this just ignores them. So it's a bit of a glass cannon. It doesn't really have. It's got 3 defensive tags, but it's not a unit built around defense, and that's a running theme with Syndicate. They're very much glass cannons across the board. They do quite a bit of damage, but they don't have a lot of damage mitigation, damage resistive abilities, CC, stuff like that. They're focused on let's kill what's in front of us and damn the losses, which is thematically appropriate, I think. It also gets a defense mode, which is a neat defense mode, but the problem is it can be staggered out of it, and so those 2 shields you were depending on just suddenly vanish. But it's a neat trick, and it looks cool. It also stacks. You can get a bunch of these, have just a giant death blob with like plus 14 shields or something on. Which again, it's great until a grenade lands in the middle of them and all those shields go away. And Bone Crusher's fine. Alright, so that's the Enforcer. I never remember. I think it's their Sniper that's next up the tree, which I'm just going to look it up because I don't know the names of all of them by memory. Their Sniper is the Guild Assassin. Guild Assassin is fine. Snipers are a unit that you want because it forces your opponent to react to you in the tactical battlefield. Snipers have many vulnerabilities, but at the end of the day, having a 9 range attack when most things are 7 forces your opponent to come to you because you can just sit outside their attack range and plink away at them if they let you do it. So it's very nice to have a few snipers around. I don't know if the Guild Assassin is a build-around unit. I tend to think not, but it's not bad to have. The other tricks it has is Breach Round, which less good at the beginning of the game, better at the end of the game. You have to tech into this unit, so I find that I don't usually do that. I've got better things to tech into than the Guild Assassin, so I don't use this too much. But I think if you have access to it and build a few of them, you probably don't regret it. It also has universal camouflage. Again, one of those neat little strategic map tricks that Syndicate have in spades. So you could try to mix these in with runners. I don't think you can do it in a proper rush, but in a mid game or late game build, to have one stack of totally invisible stuff that can float around and mess with your opponent is helpful. And superior Overwatch is okay. Snipers are one of the few units I think are alright to have Overwatch because their attacks stagger units. Nothing super special there. I don't actually remember what comes next, if it's the Mirage or the... I think it's the Mirage. We'll pretend it's the Mirage. Mirage is a flyer unit. It also has a camouflage, and it actually works for all units in a stack, so again, even though it itself has pretty lackluster offensive stats, just a single 7 attack or 7 damage attack, it can really boost the stack it's in, and let you do fun stuff on the strategic layer, which is where its strength lies. I don't think you build a bunch of these. I think you would build a couple of these just to take around in certain stacks. It has a good defense mode. I don't remember if the Obscured hits it itself, but again, this is a one of in a stack or two that you're bringing around because you want to make the stack invisible, not because you particularly want this unit itself. Hallucination Projector can be very good. Hallucination is a very strong proc. Above the Mirage is their tank, which is the Wraith? Yeah, the Wraith. What's fun about this is it's a floating tank. So you have extra, and it's got universal camouflage. Again, everything on the Syndicate roster just has a bunch of these little fun things to play with. So its damage is merely okay. 13 might actually be around what everyone else has for their tank-ish units. But it's also Psi, so it bypasses shields, which is nice. The Psytech Blast is not going to be super potent most of the time. Wraith Drive is fun, but I don't know if there's a reason that you want to have this thing go into close melee. I mean, you would have to blast afterwards, but you don't have any actions, so I doubt that would happen. Mostly you bring this to have a big punching ability with your other invisible stacks, which is just cool. It's fun to talk about. And the final unit is the Subjugator. Oh no, right, there's 2 units left. Subjugator's their tier 3 support unit. This is pretty deep in the tech tree. I've never played with this or seen anybody play with it. I think the discussion would be that you can mind control units. It's only infantry units. This is a cooldown though. This is a unit I think that's fun to get if you get it as a freebie early on. But in the late game, I just don't know if it's good enough. Reanimating once per battle, but it's only indentured unit, which by the time this comes out, that's pretty weak. Broken Mind is okay to proc, but this is not a strong attack. I probably would skip the Subjugator, I think. Which brings us to the Guild Cruiser. No, well, where is it? Where is the last big guy? Zenith? Yeah, the Zenith. It's a flying ship. Huge target. Again, it's a tier 4. I've never seen tier 4s in a practical game. House Anthem is a very strong buff. This is floating, which is another, again, that's a cool trick to have. It's slow though. Reinforcement zone. Yeah, I mean, again, if you ever would be able to build this, you'd build a couple, throw them in, but it's just impractical to get at that point. But the point being, up and down the roster, Syndicate is less about the abilities of the units and more about, less about the tactical abilities and more about the strategic abilities of their units, in my opinion. Let's just quick get this game, or get this fight running. We'll see how far overtime I've gone so far. And the turn. That hurt. Okay. Good thing I have a heal right here. I don't think this thing... I need to put that on my list as far as it should... There should be something that indicates if you use your escape module or not. Alright, so I have flanker. Alright, so let's go up. Flank him from there. Right, he actually... That is not a flank. You can get around. That won't be a flank either. So I guess I'll just plink him from in front and kill that unit. Oh wait, I could use this guy too. Should have paid more attention. Probably should have overwatched him. Whoops. That is why that ability is good. I won't waste this attack here just yet. I'm gonna want to kill the flyer, I think. And then let's give him his attack back.
Enemy down.
What do I have left? 3 attacks. That can kill that. Oh, we're good.
Enemy down.
No units lost.
The Syndicate rules.
Okay. And so with this fight, I've cleared this Cosmite node, gotten a bunch of free Cosmite. Which I will now, I think, proceed to upgrade these units with. Oh, I have no gold. Never mind. Well, in that case, let me do this one last upgrade, and then I will end this video. And hopefully, in a couple days, we'll come back with part 2, talking a little about how do you react to a rush. As always, enjoy Planetfall.